I talk to myself all the time.
Goodness.
Like I belong in some sort of nutcase someplace.
Yeah.
Now you can't see the projector.
Yeah.
See, this is the horrible thing about me being puny.
Okay. Let me try to fit this in.
Yeah. You like stand on chair.
Yeah. You see that, right? Okay, cool.
No, you don't stand here. Stand here because you're the tallest of all three.
Yeah, that's the full height range. So.
I would love a box.
Okay. Like a soapbox.
Yeah, the box.
Like, is it how many right now? Or is it like we run just practice test runs?
Nope. Real deal at 4.
Yeah.
Real deal's at 4, yeah. And it is. It's 5 minutes until then. 6 minutes. So you guys are until a little bit later on. Yeah, you're the third group. So you have like what? Half an hour?
Hello?
After 4 o'clock. You guys have 4 minutes. They have 20 minutes.
We have a friend.
Oh, hey, it's Sid. Hey, how's it going, Sid?
Pretty good.
Can
How
you
about
hear us
yourself?
okay?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. Can you hear me?
Damn
There's
it,
no speaker plugged
yeah.
in.
I have a speaker plugged in, but the audio.
Oh, there you go, Mike.
Audio's not coming through.
Audio's not coming through?
Okay, now it's coming through.
Okay.
Now it's dropping out.
Okay.
Okay, now it's coming through.
How about now?
I think now it's coming through.
Okay, I'm just going to start talking.
Okay,
without
don't
actually talking anything, just if you,
Wow, I have to hold this? Oh no, that can't be the case.
What kind of cord is that?
It's a headphone cord.
Let me see if I got.
It's a special kind of headphone cord. Okay, Sid, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Okay, I'm gonna have to run audio again.
Well, think about this. If you're plugging a speaker into that,
Yeah.
how are you gonna get?
Mike,
Yeah, where's the microphone?
information.
There's a mic up there with the phone.
Okay. Let me.
The thing that's weird, yeah, do we have another? Yeah, if we can have another speaker. Because I've been having problems with that audio. Okay. So, we're still setting some cameras over here. Okay. How's that?
Take the glasses though.
Oh, yeah. You guys can relate, right? Hey, Sid, have you met Amelia? Right?
Hi, Amelia.
She's going to be part of our first pitch group.
Cool. Which game?
She's really smart, you know?
Really tiny.
And I don't know if you can tell from the video, right? She's about this tiny.
Ah, nice.
That's
Yeah.
But actual size.
Don't keep you in the shade.
Actual size. Actual size.
like,
Right?
Nice.
I'm less than a foot shorter than Mike. I mean, that's not that big accomplishment, but
Yes.
still,
I
probably, maybe.
was having problems with that.
She can reach the cookie jar. That's all.
Oh, maybe not.
I would rock climb to the cookie jar if I have to.
Wow, my
Wait, hold on. You're using Skype?
No, hang out. Yes, you can. You can and you will.
You can do it. This one. You can do it. Exactly how it should be said. You can do it. Yeah.
Okay, so
All you have to do is just say it and let it
it's still the audio still.
How many people you got online?
Okay, cool. That works. We can hear you now.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you great. Yeah, I can hear you great.
Okay, awesome.
Cool.
go on
So I guess we'll go with that.
Okay, we'll go with that.
A little bit of lag.
Yeah, of course, it's going to be a little bit. I don't think we have anybody else yet right now for being online, but
Yeah, I couldn't make it. You know?
Oh.
Oh, I can't make it.
Yeah. Our mom's kind of having an event.
Oh, no, is she all right?
No, she's fine. It's kind of like a recognition of my dad passed away about a year ago.
Oh.
Yeah, so they're kind of having a special dinner.
Cool.
And you're not there?
I'm over here. But he's gonna join us on the next one.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to.
Are you going to take video of the video that's taking video of us?
Yes.
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah.
Yes.
If we're gonna videotape that.
There we go.
Put it on those and record it into a mirror.
Okay. That and I'd be backwards. Should I start talking backwards too?
Let me get the rest of our audience, and then we'll get started.
Okay, cool. That's good. I'm more on then.
Oi! The fuck in here.
Professional.
So. I think at the end of the year, we can get just an attack.
Alright guys, it looks like it's about 4 o'clock, right? So let's go ahead and get started. Hey, I really appreciate everybody coming out here, right? Sid, Devin, Tina, Tyler, right? So today we have 6 game pitches, you know? There's going to be 6 game pitches. We're going to take 2 games into production, right? Each pitch is going to be 10 minutes long, with about 5 minutes for questions and answers, right? And we do have a predetermined order, right? So without much further ado, let's go ahead and get started with oaths. You guys are out.
Hold on, I pressed the button.
Yeah, the button is warming up. Oh, I didn't know if there was like a little mirror in there, just like windowing a window.
I can put one on my phone.
Justin's got one.
Yeah.
Just stand right there.
So is this on?
Yes, it's on. Beginning of our selection is dark.
Okay. There we go.
Okay, it's on.
Sorry.
Oh.
Yeah! You can hear yourself last.
Oh, that's perfect. Ready? Are we good?
We good?
We're good.
All right.
You ready to go?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go ahead and start the timer then. Oaths, you're out.
We are Oaths, and our game is Shard. Shard is a 2D side-scrolling puzzle platformer with a unique spin on the classic puzzle platforming experience. The 2 beings of chaos and order are fighting over a temporal space that exists behind our reality. And the source of their power are these crystal shards that grow in this world. They are battling to control this world with all their might. And the population of this world can also be distorted by them in order to gain ultimate control over the environment, the people, and eventually the entire world.
Core mechanics of our game are numerous. One main one being the fact that your main character has 2 forms, a large form and a small form. In your large form, you have access to two unique to that large form abilities. The ability to rotate the entire world 90 degrees left or right, and you also have the ability to reverse gravity up and down. In your small form, you lose these abilities, but gain 2 others. You get the ability to control time, whether you reverse it, slow it down, or stop it completely. You also have the ability to increase your spatial awareness by zooming out and seeing the entire puzzle at one time. When rotating a level, the other areas will become dark until they are matched up the way they are supposed to be in-game. Players can die based on waterfalls, whether they are hit enough times by the inhabitants of the world, or if the player chooses to get hit by a very large charged beam, which gives you ample time to run away. Small gameplay video. Did you actually make it in this one? Winning!
So power shards are the main source of power for your character in the game. One power shard is equivalent to one ability use. And if you run out of power shards, you can no longer use your abilities, and therefore it is the equivalent of death, and the player will be reset to the last checkpoint. Power shards are also used to control and distort the population found within the levels. And it takes 2 shards to control someone who is a member of the population. So players have to keep a careful watch on how many shards they have, or they run the risk of failing the level due to not having enough shards. More shards can be gained by distorting the environment around them. If you remain on a certain area of the environment for an amount of time, you have a chance of getting a new power shard. And at each checkpoint, you will be given enough power shards to make it through the level.
Use them wisely.
This diagram shows the 3 levels that we have planned. This being each block shows the individual segments that make up the level. The larger ones representing increasing scale and difficulty. The purple sections show how much of the level starts already distorted. The gray areas represent the neutral zone that both factions are fighting over. And the yellow is the one that's been taken over by the opposing faction. The gray being the easiest to distort, and the more and more it becomes the opposing faction, the harder it is to take over.
For our art style, we wanted to keep it a flat, 2D, slightly abstract influence style. We wanted to be very simple to really make these characters stand out. So the main character you play as is Distortion. His goal is to distort everything because he believes that chaos is the natural state of the world. He's kind of fun and has more of a childish outlook on life. He just wants everything to be fun and exciting all the time. And in his larger form, this is more for when things aren't going his way. He throws more of a tantrum and he gets huge and gains the ability to flip the whole world on its head just because he's angry at it. Yes. And their designs were made, his design, it was made to be very angular and horizontal in contrast to the main villain.
The main villain being Regulation. She's very tall, very rounded, to oppose Distortion's very angular and horizontal design. She has 4 main abilities, one of which is to undo what you've distorted. She can also throw her ring like a boomerang, and it'll knock off some of your shards, so you have to gain more in order to finish your level. She can also shoot a large beam that could kill your player and send you to start over the level again, along with the ability to teleport, so it's hard to know where she's coming.
These are the peeps, the natural inhabitants of this world. There are 3 versions of them. The neutral peep, which is their natural state, is the least bit of a threat, mostly knocking you off of platforms and occasionally hitting you into a waterfall, which kills you. Mostly not dangerous at all. You can then change these peeps to your own side, giving them your physical properties and your personality traits. These are the distorted peeps. They get feral. They will go and attack the regulated peeps. They will go and change the normal peeps for you. If you have them, when you go onto a platform, you actually increase your chance for getting a shard for every peep that you distort. The regulation peeps can also be changed by regulation to her side. They can undo what you have done, but it does take longer. They can hit you with a small energy beam, which does push you back further and harder, making some puzzles a little more challenging.
Our environments are very platformer. We have 5 basic types of blocks, the 2 that make up the majority of the level. A unique glass block will fit for each environment that only the small form can travel over. The large form won't break it. The only way to get it back is to use the time abilities of the small form. There's also the pool blocks that can be either a pool or a waterfall depending on which angle you see them at. And of course the doors that are your entrance and your exit to the level. Our title screen will be just a simple mock-up of the environment that'll shift between each type as you just sit there.
For our UI, we wanted to keep the UI for the game very simple and very minimal to keep the player immersed in the game.
So whenever we need to teach the player a button, it will appear over their head and will go away once the player has pressed the button. Whenever a player acquires or loses a power shard, the power shard will come above their head, form a number, and then a particle effect will go into the player.
For marketing, we want our audience to be the casual puzzle platformer. Fans of the games such as Shift, Monument Valley, Battle Block Theater, and Portal are definitely going to like a game like this. For keeping people involved, we want to have our own website that we update on constantly. We want web advertising across pretty much every social media site we could find. We're considering doing Steam Greenlight. We're also trying to get into every magazine article that we can, get it out there, get the press to look at us. We also want to go to events such as iFest, show off our game there. And merchandising, where we have tiny little shard flash drives, which are an actual thing, that represent each of the 3 factions, each loaded with that faction's small little desktop buddy, who will sit on your desktop and play with you. We also want to keep our community involved with weekly dev streams and frequent YouTube videos that say, hey, come look at us, look at what we're doing. We want to keep people involved, so we have open forums that will allow people to give off their ideas, and we will try to implement them as best we can. Are there any questions?
I've got a couple.
The speakers need to be.
Oh, shoot.
It's okay.
I forgot that got unplugged. Where does it go? That one? Does it go? Does that work?
Hello? Hello?
Yeah.
Yours.
Uh,
By the way, I really love the short USB drive. It kicks ass. Really physical.
Yes, we do have physical copies
Yes,
here with
physical
us
copies.
today.
And we can bring them.
But yes, any
If
questions?
anyone's interested in shard flash drives, you can pass them around.
Okay.
But
Anybody?
feel free, we have
Yeah.
containers for all
Yeah.
of them.
Yes.
you were talking about either side, basically. Is it a binary change, or is it slow gradual?
Oh, I don't think the audio's coming through.
Try the top plug.
Okay, can you say that again? The audio was off.
I was wondering how from neutral to side. Is it a binary change, or is it a slow time?
No, it is a rather quick change. Each faction has a weep. These large tail here and Regulation's large cape allow them to cloak their peep and change them to their faction almost instantly.
Okay, so you wouldn't have to. Or I'm curious as to how many sprites can have sprites of the individual factions. Have to have additional sprites for the transitions.
There may be a small sprite transition there, but it won't be a ton of frames.
It'll be an
Okay.
animation. Most of the transformation part.
Yes.
Do you guys have any thoughts on like which part of production will you be spending most of your time on? Will it be like more on the animated sprites and the animated characters, or be more like on the environments?
We'll be spending more of our time in level design, actually. We're spending a good portion of our time spriting out the characters and animating,
Okay.
but making this game really work is going to be focusing on level design to really make it fun to play, to really work these mechanics together and make them really cohesive as a fun game.
Gotcha.
So what type of development? I'm sorry.
Oh, yes.
So apologies if you said this and I missed it. If you're converting someone from who's all the way on the opposite side, do you have to first convert them to neutral and then to yours, or is it straight to yours?
That's a good question. You actually cannot convert one that's been converted by the opposing faction.
They must be destroyed.
Yeah, only neutral peaks are up for grabs.
Yes. Once they're from one faction, they stay there. Yes, sir.
So what are the 3 unique selling points of the game? Like just the top 3 like things that are going to stick in
Olivia?
But the top three things we're thinking about, the interesting combination of mechanics is something that we're really seeing, and that more specifically is rotating the entire level as a main game mechanic in combination with gravity switching. That's probably one of our biggest ones, is how do you make two very different mechanics really work together cohesively to make a different kind of puzzle.
Dimensional game.
Yes.
The second one would probably be the art style. We want it to be very stick in your mind with geometric shapes that pop out and stick with you, with bright colors that grab your attention and keep it. And for the third one, we really want you to feel immersed in it. We want the gameplay to feel very quick, but also it requires thought, which makes you feel challenged, which makes you come back for more.
So, addicting.
Yes, we want to make it addicting. In kind of an angering way.
Yeah, but not too angering where the player wants to go.
And Sid, you did have a question. Sorry,
Yeah,
it's been a little bit.
I'm curious, are you planning to use Agile Scrum or what you're planning up front? Or are you looking at more of it via Scrum where you go exactly the way you want it and then move on with it?
So I think Sid is asking like, what kind of planning style you have in this game?
Yeah, exactly.
Or would be agile and Scrum where it's iterative and you can build something and pivot on?
It can be very iterative. We
Yes.
want to do a lot of play testing. We really want to say we want to make it and then keep building on whatever our initial level designs are. We want to build them and then keep working them out to get over and over and over again until we get as good of a puzzle platformer as we can possibly make.
Very iterative.
Yes.
You're never just going to stick on one thing and make it perfect, because it's almost never perfect the first time.
So what's your plans for this? You're going to iterate over this. Are you going to have that hard time locking design of the character early on?
The characters we're going to start with, we're going to do keyframe sprites to begin with. And then as we get more final concepts and get closer to production finalizing, we'll go in and add the in-betweens for frames.
Okay.
And the character designs we're planning on redesigning distortion a little bit very soon.
Just to clean it up.
Clean it up before we start doing sprites.
We have one more question. Anybody? No?
Questions?
Excellent.
Well, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Cool.
All right. So next up we have Game Dev Live. Caleb, Elizabeth, Jacob.
Continue, man.
Thing on, Mike?
Where can they put a slide join? Just on that computer.
Yeah. We're plugging the main machines.
Alright, I think that's all of our class secrets up there. Right?
Yeah.
I'm glad yeah,
Everybody knows. Everybody knows.
is there any way we can close that browser window?
James, can you close the browser window?
Awesome, thanks.
Thank you, James.
Oh, that was how you do it every time. Who's logged into this computer?
Like,
What? Why did you do that? That was the
They were close.
But it was next slide.
I hope that happened.
You good?
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Are you guys ready to go?
Maybe.
Excellent. All right. Can somebody unplug that speaker so we don't have it? Okay. Good. All right. So let's begin.
All right. So this isn't our entire team. There's only the three of us here, but we are working on the visual novel Game Dev Life. It's a work in progress title. I'm Caleb, Elizabeth, Jace. So high concept. It's basically a visual novel, RPG-like, with a lot of time management simulation in it. Basically, you're a broke college student on the tail end of his his final spring quarter, and you're trying to figure out what to do with your life because he hasn't really had any plans up till now. And so you basically spend the entire game in this little town where you're basically managing your school, part-time job, and all your social connections that you get with everyone to find your ultimate career goal. So game highlights, we're going for a really kind of comic, lighthearted take on a premise that is probably at least a little bit relatable to all of us, and really trying to implement a unique story with lots of different characters that you're able to interact with and have basically full storylines with. In each of those storylines, there's going to be multiple decisions that you're able to make and dialogue trees that really affect the outcome of each one, and will result in many different endings that you can get. There's going to be up to 5 endings.
Since none of us are writers, we haven't figured out exactly what these endings or storylines will be. That's
Go ahead.
the reasons for bitching. So
There will be 5 endings, though. 2 bad, where you actually can fail the game, and 3 good ones, depending on the decisions you make. The main gameplay overview. Basically, the game takes place, and the main real mechanic is kind of iterating through your stats and upping courage, knowledge, and charm, which you can get through doing activities in the world and talking to other people. And basically, you trigger a win state by completely maxing out one of these stats. It's pretty common, visual novel mechanic. Next slide. The catch is, though, that everything is on a time schedule, and you have a certain amount of stamina that will basically limit what you're able to do at what times before you just get completely exhausted and lose. So there's 6 segments in each day, broken up into morning, afternoon, and evening. Certain things will only be available at certain times of the day, and it'll really force you to make hard decisions on what you do when you do it. So you could have something where you have morning classes at 7 a.m. But this one person you wanted to hang out with that could really teach you a lot and up your knowledge, is off doing something else that time. So it's do you skip class and maybe lose favor with your teacher, or do you hang out with that person, or do you go to class and hope that opportunity will come up again? So it's kind of decisions that you'll have to make throughout the entire game. When it comes to character interactions, basically there will be, similar to a lot of the Persona social links, there will be special cutscenes that trigger when you get to a certain level of friendship with them, basically. So at a certain point, they may initiate a cutscene, and they'll start talking to you, and there will be decisions and dialogue choices that you'll have to make, where there will be right and wrong answers, where you kind of have to analyze the type of person they are and say, what, should I say here, what will offend them, what would, they like to hear, basically.
obviously, this is not final art. This is placeholder.
This is all prototype placeholder art right here. So an example, right here, does this make me look fat? It's depending on the type of person they are, it's one of those could either change their disposition towards you, and they may not want to hang out with you in the future, or the other thing, they'll hang out with you more, and maybe they'll help you increase your charm, Next slide. So as far as marketing and distribution, we're initially just going for PC, Mac, and Linux through Steam Greenlight. And if all goes well and it's received well in the future, we're looking into iOS and Android mobile ports. And that's that. We have a little bit of an example to show for the gameplay. to kind of show a little bit of the flow of the gameplay and stuff and the different activities you'll have.
Ripped a lot of artwork as you can tell.
This art is not final. So if you want to just click start. Okay, so we have all these different places in the overworld we can go. Let's go to school. If you see the top right corner of the screen, it displays the day and the time of day. So it's late afternoon Friday. Top left, all of our stats. So if you want to go to school, yes. So we walk in, teacher's going to say something.
I made that professor.
Yes. Elizabeth has done all the character art up to this point.
Well, all the non-downloaded character art.
Yeah.
Which amounts to 2 characters, only one of which is actually.
Okay, so we can choose to talk to the professor, which will take up time, but give us a chance to increase our knowledge. So we're going to talk to him and see if he's busy. All right, it looks like he's busy, so fail state. So we won't increase any of our stats, and it'll move to early evening, which will then close the school. Each area has their own schedules and stuff, like I said. So it's now Friday early evening, and we can go back to our dorm and continue with other activities. So if you go here, say we could, let's just go to sleep. That'll give us a lot of our stamina back so that we can regain enough strength to start activities the next day. It'll say, it sees that it's early evening, not late evening, and asks us if we want to go to bed early for extra stamina. So we click yes. And wake up Saturday early morning. And our stamina has increased by 31 points. Good. Nice. Anyway, so that's just like a brief overview of some of the different ways that the activities will work. The success and failure states are. And I think that's it. Does anyone have any questions?
Oh, I'm going to plug in the speaker.
Oh.
All right.
I got a question. Who's your target audience?
Target audience?
Well,
It's
anyone who can relate to being a college student, I guess. So
right.
college students.
It's going to be targeted mostly towards probably older teens. It's going to be an anime art style, so anyone that is crazy about anime, which is probably half the people in this class. Yeah, and pretty much anyone that enjoys visual novels.
What do you see as the dev cycle?
What's that? Could you ask that question again?
Yeah, how long do you see game taking to develop?
The actual development time will hinge heavily on how long it takes to actually write down the story and all the different storylines. And the artists, yes.
Yeah, visual novels are basically a solved problem as far as coding. So we mostly need writing and art.
Coding it will be very simple. It hinges heavily on how long it will take to draw all the different sprites and write all the storylines.
So what do you see as the biggest?
Biggest what?
Biggest risk.
Biggest risk.
I guess being seen as not terribly unique. I mean, it's another visual novel.
Yeah, this has definitely been done before. I think we risk alienating a lot of the people that could play it by choosing such a specific topic. Whereas, I think a lot of the people that I'm around with find it relatable. There's probably a large majority of people that maybe haven't experienced, this exact scenario.
It basically hinges a lot on how good a job we do with writing.
Other questions? Devin?
All right. So you said the game may not be that unique. Is there any gameplay elements that are unique to your game that's not in other typical visual novels?
Mostly it's just the writing. I'm pretty sure that some visual novel along the way has done something very similar to this. I have definitely taken bits and pieces of a lot of things I've played. I've never played a visual novel that plays exactly like this, but I took a little bit from the persona and the way that the story progresses. I took a lot of the way that the stat management works from another one. It's basically a lot of unoriginal pieces kind of put together into something that'll hopefully be somewhat new.
On your example of the person who's asking about that, if you say no and they become your friend, could that also be a penalty?
No, dude, they're happy.
I mean, if you got somebody who's constantly hanging on you, are they distracting you away from your studies?
That can definitely happen because the more you hang out with them, the more they're going to. It's a balancing act because you can't just spend all your time hanging out with them because you'll fail out of your classes,
Okay.
you know, or you'll lose your part-time job. So there is a little bit of a balance that you need there, but in of itself, like hanging out with people and getting to know them better isn't ever really a bad thing.
How close are you guys aiming to realism? Right? Would this be a game that a parent would want their college student to play so that they can balance their college life?
We are not advertising this as an edutainment game or as a way to prepare you for college life or a career in any way. It's very lighthearted, very jokey.
How long do you see the game that they run to go from start to finish?
Depending on, I mean, assuming that you're actually reading all the text, the gameplay of one playthrough would probably take 2 to 3 hours. But with the chance of up to 3 potential good endings, I mean, that stretches it out to around probably 7 or 8 hours.
All depends on how we write the story.
I mean, technically, if you really wanted to, you could fail out of the game within, like, 8 minutes. But it all depends on the way you play it. Yeah.
Have you thought about sound?
We have thought about sound. What aspect?
Like, are you going to have music, or are you going to have sound effects?
Yes, sir.
Dialogue, voice.
As far as voice dialogue goes, we probably wouldn't have fully voiced. It's going to be very, very text heavy. We may have a few canned, like things that certain characters will say or something, but certainly not fully voiced for the entire cast. As far as sound goes, we currently don't have it all implemented, but we're certainly working on getting it.
Or we could do what Don't Starve does, and put in like abstract sounds for voices.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Pull a banjo kazooie or something.
Wow. What is the most mainstream game in the visual novel genre?
Most mainstream? Probably. Calling any visual novel mainstream is really a stretch, but
Because I heard about one with a pigeon.
Huddle for Boyfriend is definitely a good comparison. They have a lot of the similar stat balancing.
Did they do a good job of separating themselves from other visual novels?
I would say so.
Pigeons, the answer?
Yeah. It certainly didn't grab me personally. But that's what we should have done. We just made all of our characters to be like rats or something. Rat dating sim.
Just need to
Anyone else?
All right. Very much.
Next up is Jan.
Yeah.
Juicy guy. Good job. Black sheep.
I emailed you.
Would you like my tie?
Actually, I would, but
Fine.
it wouldn't look good on me, probably.
Sharing is
Nowadays.
caring. All right, so let's. We're gonna get set up.
I might do a bow tie. Oh, you can see me, probably. Whoops. Whoops.
We pause there. I use that. What is that, Mike?
What are you doing in class? Honestly.
In front of the entire class.
I was trying to get to the lighting side.
Sure.
The automatic lighting system.
Sure.
Sure. Is this the one with the bikinis?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes,
That has a lot to do with you.
It was
And lighting.
I think you might need to switch out rounds or something. Oh, there we go. Alrighty, so I did do it.
Very dangerous. Yes.
So. Should be.
Are you guys ready? Let me know when you're ready.
I think we're good.
Okay.
And so
Oh,
we are Gian, and our game is called Archon Plague. He's in a hurry.
Yeah.
Here are characters from our game. And next slide. So, what is Archon Plague? It is a real-time strategy, combining elements of tower defense as well as football. We want it to be a mobile game. Right now, RTS, it has been a underrepresented model within mobile games, or they're good up to a point. And we would like to target that audience amongst other audiences and see what happens. It's an experiment. There will be third-person gameplay, top-down, as your standard RTS is. Okay. So, your story. Welcome to the Kingdom of Seradia. You are a court wizard tasked with eradicating the Archon pest that has invaded your land. And what are Archons? They're interdimensional little bug things that are leaving just your whole entire land waste, just consuming everything in their path. So, how do you defeat these guys? You create a team of golems out of natural resources to help you both defend the land as well as help exterminate this plague of Archons. The player experience, it's like Plants vs. Zombies, except you're the moving tower. You bring the fight to them, or vice versa. You can manage your resources in order to be able to create whatever golem that you need at the moment, whether you're on the offensive or defensive. We would like it to be fast-paced, very quick, and because time is running out. Archons are gradually pressing forward and invading, and you need to push them back. I believe that football fans will recognize this notion of gaining yards and losing yards. You are either gaining land or losing it, as illustrated here. Riley?
Here we have gameplay. This would be an example of the resources. And every single little tiny dot that you can see like this are resources that you will collect throughout the game. Every single resource has a type. So far we only have 3 resources. Each resource will be used to create a golem, which will be used as your tower defense like units. Resources will be randomly generated when you start every game for each level. And when you collect resources, they will not respawn, so you have to make sure you are using them wisely, like Gia said. And you use your resource to build the golem. We haven't really decided how many resources yet, depending on how many resources we actually put in the game. It could be 5 to 25. But you build your golems, and they either die or somehow survive because you're a good player. And when they die, you just make more and repeat the cycle. This is an example of actual in-game view, what you would see, and the game user interface. Here you have the ability menu. We haven't really put any icons there, but it'll be the player's activated abilities. They are currently still under development, but they will be accessed via the mana bar right here. And we have the golem units. We will have a maximum of 10, and mostly to make sure game runs smoothly, and so you're not managing hordes of enemies that you cannot really deal on a mobile game. We also have the joystick and the mouse directional keys for those playing on the pad if they prefer a bit better control for the main character. Units will have little icons under them to show that they stand out from the rest of the environment. You know, this is something of mine that I control.
Right then, let's talk about our golem tab. From right now, we only have about 3 types: wood, stone, and diamond. Wood golems are mainly used to defend, as you can see clearly by their giant shield, and they're tall, imposing mass.
Next slide.
We also have a stone golem, which you can clearly see is a attacking unit. It has a very heavy attack, but not as much of the defense as the wood golem have. But with the damage they output, they are optimal for dealing with larger enemies that we'll encounter later on. And then we have the diamond golems. Diamond golems are the archery class, mainly. They just toss out little glass spears that explode upon the enemy on contact. The rate of fire is pretty quick too, so they're very optimal to deal with small stuff. So as we gather from that, each unit is specialized with dealing with certain enemies. But it doesn't mean you have to use them specifically for that unit. Thank you. Here's some examples about how the golems would attack, move, degenerate over time when they're damaged, and just generally move and be a thing, basically. Yeah, as you can clearly see, each unit is built with its own way of dealing with the enemy. Siege, diamonds, shield, and etc. And same for the stone golem as well. One thing I'd like to make really clear is, when I was designing these golems, I want to be very visible and very distinctive from the environment. So that's going to be a very key element to when we actually implement this game and get it all going smoothly, because we don't want to confuse the player. Right. Oh, and there are the character icons on their faces. If you will take notice, I just added visual hierarchy to it. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Oh, and here is scale. Right. Would you? Okay. Sorry, I feel like I'm selling the show here. Anyway, I know, that's horrible. All right. One of the best things about this game is the scale, the mass, the excitement. Fighting small things is, it's okay, it's fun. But when you get the big bosses, that's when I want you to feel like you're being gripped, really strained for resources. You have to throw everything you got at this guy right here, and you're going to have things along the way that are going to be imposing, just like that. Such as bigger enemies. The designs may change later on because, let's be honest, we don't want to repeat the same enemies just in 3 different sizes. But for now, it'll do.
So, what makes this original? It is a different take on real-time strategy video games, especially for the mobile devices, which is, as I've stated before, a very underrepresented genre within mobile games. It's a tower offense game rather than tower defense. There's fast-paced gameplay, tactical resource management, golems and construction materials, of course. And putting all these factors together, I think we can gather a wider audience and set a new trend in the way RTS games are played. Here's our art style, and what we're going with is what's called low poly art. It aesthetically lies in the sharp edges, colorful lighting, translating organic forms into stylized geometric ones. And now, who is our audience? Targeted toward fans of real-time strategy games, especially the tower defense titles like Plants vs. Zombies. Sports fans who enjoy things like fantasy football, the example being building your own team. Mobile gamers, those who enjoy playing games on their phone or tablet device. Wide audiences, which is ever-growing. Both casual gamers who play to relax, and of course the hardcore gamers who basically eat, sleep, and breathe, and drink games. Fans also of sword and sorcery type fantasy, Dungeons & Dragons, Lord of the Rings, stuff like that. So with customer acquisition, reaching out to a broader audience via the mobile platform. I mean, who doesn't have a cell phone? Tailoring social media campaigns to target audiences, example to RTS fans, sports fans, fantasy fans. Like, for example, releasing art on a website or social media corresponding to a particular sporting or fantasy-related event. So say we do our art in that style. Also, tactical advantage. So using my prior established network of gamers, developers, tech writers, and game news writers and influencers, I believe that we can leverage our visibility. the familiarity with the social media, as well as my already established audience, can give Archon Plague an advantage in visibility. More visibility for Archon Plague, more visibility for AIE. It's a win-win. Archon Plague!
Yeah. So any questions? Anybody?
Oh yeah, you got the questions.
Oh yeah, can you do that for us?
I had
yeah.
a quick question.
Okay, I guess you can go first.
So there was a mention that this would appeal to fantasy football players. How does that work? Because there's only 3 villains or types of villains so far. I mean,
Like we said, there will be more.
there will be.
Yeah, there will
In
be
later
more.
games, we plan on implementing more golems, like maybe a magma golem or frost golem. Hell, maybe even a flesh golem.
Yeah, that really intrigues me. It would be cool to see like just.
And then being able to cast a spell to be like, hey, you 2 golems combine, and then now you're half this and half that. So it's designing your own player. Customization in a way.
I get it. Thanks.
Yeah.
And the more golems we can think up, that means more updates and more possibly DLCs or something.
And levels.
Yeah. Definitely need more levels.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Yeah.
Do you have a sorry, someone else?
Yes. Do you have a question?
Yeah, I was curious. Low poly flat art, is it going to stay 3D or is it going to be rendered out? Is it going to be sprites or is it real time?
Oh no, it's going to be.
It will be 3D.
Not sprites, no.
Okay. Now, how many characters do you see on screen at any one given time?
What?
You'll have always the player character. He will be at the center of the screen. And golems, at the moment, we are still keeping to maximum of 10. But the enemies, the smaller enemies will be coming in hordes, large hordes, possibly around 25 to like capping at 100, because that is pretty much. But they'll be low health and easily dispatched. So about 115 max for moving objects on the scene.
Do you see that as real?
Later.
For a mobile title, do you see that as realistic?
For the fact that we're doing low poly art, which will lower a lot of the rendering time down, and gameplay mechanics, at the moment they are currently just thought of as simple AI that attacks the player. Go after the player. If something gets in the way, attack that until it's dead or I die, and then go right back after the player.
Now,
The mechanics in AI will be very simple.
Now, when he says, this massive number on the screen, we have to think you are constantly moving up the map. There's a checkpoint, and then you move up, and then more enemies come up. And then there's another checkpoint, and then more enemies, up until you reach a hive, which that's where the big baddie hides out. Any other questions?
Yep.
So, what's your target for average download time?
Average download time.
No more than half an hour. Maybe 10, 15 minutes.
God,
maybe.
like 10, 15 minutes. I mean,
I mean, that'd be the max. If we could get it out even lower than that, that'd be great.
Yeah, 10, 15 minutes.
Any other questions? Yes?
How would you consider convincing hardcore players that view mobile game as a bit of a dirty word?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think the main appeal is going to be like maybe if we can somehow implement it, we make it competitive, or just make it competitive, like times, scores, all that sort of stuff.
Maybe even the ability to keep your own set of golems, and even add the whole multiplayer aspect in being able to battle your golems versus someone else's golems too. That's a pretty big thing right now too, is competing against each other.
Yeah.
I like the idea of mixing match golems, but does it worry you about the number of offering with the number of characters you'll have on screen?
Draw calls? It does. To be honest, I think we will have to actually test it out, depending on, because there are a variety of phones out there, including iPhones, Android tablets, and all that. We may not have to do 150. We might have to take it down to 50. But like I said, it's something we have to test on cell phone hardware. One more question. Anybody? Yes, you again.
What did you reserve for audio? How much space?
Shoot, audio. I can't remember.
Overall background
yeah.
music for the 3 separate areas. Sheila, if you can go back to that slide where you see the areas separated by triangles. That one. These will be actually separated into 3 separate areas, so I would view them as actually having their own soundtrack per area. Something light and not really too intense for the first area, so you're just starting off. Then maybe you're getting into a little action, and the end area you're fighting a boss. You need some epic battles.
Yeah. So
now we do see this as being not only just one map, but multiple maps with multiple little drop locations for supplies and little obstacles. So don't just think it's like just one thing.
Yeah.
We got the ideas.
There can be more than just the shape.
All right, so time's up. Time's up. Very nice, guys.
Thank you very much.
Next up is
Nice try.
nice try.
Nice try, Zach.
Nice try, guys. Nice try.
Again, he's trying to blow it.
It's blocking. Yeah, so we might have to switch over to internet.
Or you are sign up my profile. His profile is probably logged in on Chrome itself. It is weird though.
Well, it gave up because it was
Mike, so I get a picture.
What have you been doing? Does it involve the bikini?
It might involve the beach.
That's a beach tan.
Does it involve these lights you keep talking about? What lights? I don't see lights.
He was probably shopping for the bikini to match that picture you showed him.
Oh no, I've seen it.
He was shopping to make it real for you. You wanted to make it real. Yeah, me too.
No music for intermission?
Yeah, we kind of need to open up like balls. Like our game so far?
I love it. It's so simple.
So simple. This is called getting on the web. See if you can navigate this.
Can we play on the easier just with tape?
No. Google is apparently your friend, but in this case, no, Google is the enemy. I'm taking it. Taking it. All right. Well.
So, are we almost ready to get started?
So it's just space bar.
Are we ready?
We're ready.
I'm ready.
Go.
All right. So the game we are giving you is Fatale, presented by Nice Try Studios. Go to the next one. Good space. There you go. So we wanted to give you a hack and slash RPG. To turn it on its head on this one, instead of being humans fending off against monsters, you're elves fending off against humans. They're invading your land, they are trying to take your resources because the backstory is, essentially, humans have used up all of their resources. They found a way to rip into your world, and they are trying to take them. So the game starts off, and you start off in your home area down here. That's where you're introduced to the fighting engine, how to utilize that. It's going to be a third person down. You're able to rotate that camera however you want. We're using melee and ranged. Essentially, the core of this is magic versus tech. So you're taught everything you need to know, all the magic that you're going to be using in here. Then you're directed to these key points over here. If you take these points out, you now create a barrier wall, and now your home is no longer being attacked from these two fronts. If you take all of these points in here, now you've created the wall up here, and the main enemy has been pushed back to that point. All right. Another point that we wanted to kind of address was you get different abilities, points as you progress. At each of these points, you're going to get just an ability stat. At the larger points, you get an ability and a skill stat. All right. You can use these. Go to the next one. You can use these blue ones. They go up in here only. At all of them, you'll receive one of these. Once you take those, you have that. It's yours. You've learned it. You're a magical creature, so once you learn something, you don't forget it just because somebody comes back and takes it. There is a rate of decay on all of these points. If you leave it unattended for too long, it will give you a notification that it's under attack, and then it's going to fall back into enemy hands. As you progress up the map, that rate of decay increases. So there's two ways to lose at this game. You can die attempting to try and close that portal up there, or if you leave your home base unguarded for too long and it gets taken, game over as well. You don't have to take these points, these smaller ones. But if you don't, then of course you don't have that wall. At each of these points, you can reallocate all of your points however you want. We did not give you enough that you could max out all of this. We gave you just enough that you kind of get a feel for what it's like to be a Lord of Ice or a Lord of Fire. That super stealthy guy or completely impenetrable because you have an awesome shield. We push you to change all of these stats, these beginning points. Once you get past that halfway mark, it's all up to you. Attack the game however you want. Make it your game. So, that's yours. On to you. Go to the next slide, please. These are our characters. Primary character is right here. We wanted more of that organic feel, since it's magic versus tech. Organics versus mechanics. We have a melee character fighting against you, a ranged character fighting against you, and a tank character that has both melee, ranged, and really, really tough. Your character progresses as starting off right here, a little bit of armor. As you go along, you pick up armor pieces, making your armor set complete. And then near the end, you can evolve your armor. The only thing we've really discussed about the evolution of that armor and in merriment with the abilities that you have is that if you go all the way ice, then it's going to have kind of an ice sheen to it. If you go all the way in fire, it's going to have kind of that fire sheen. So that'll be fun to play with, just a little bit of the uniqueness to it. On the next one. Jesse, that's on you.
So for our environment, it is in the fairy fade world. So it is going to be very, very natural, very, very, very big trees. We wanted some like bush, mushrooms, something that's very imbued with magic. Something that you cannot find here on the human world. Everything is bigger than life. And for the encampments, these humans, they have, like us, we have aircraft. They can bring in buildings, they will be at a point where they have set down tarmac, walls, as you can see here. Something somewhat like that is what we would like to aim for. Also, if they might hide up in the trees, something similar, something that's very forested. And this is what the humans would be coming from. This is their world. This is what they have turned it into. Very desolate, destroyed. It's not recognizable to how we see it today. This is why they have punched a hole into the very world and need resources. And this is, I guess, a bit of a mock-up terrain that I have gone and done. In Unity, it wasn't actually that bad. I used something called a height map to go ahead and just make the terrain, pretty much just plopped it down. And I went putting in trees, foliage, and everything. It's actually not that bad. It can be very, for the scope that we are aiming for, I believe it can be doable and actually look pretty decent.
To go a little bit further with the test environment, we actually have some of the live demo. To give you reference scope towards what we're aiming for.
So like I said, big trees, very much creating a canopy of them. And instead, it's very dark. You can see it. I probably should have made it better. But yeah, there would be packs full of foliage on the ground. There would be paths that would be worn down so we can sort of direct the player rather than just giving you this land that doesn't seem really touched by humans or animals or whatnot. There should be paths for the player that can follow or just explore off.
To showcase a combat, I have a short demo to share with you guys. For our world, we wanted to represent the character in the third person, allowing the character to see 360-degree angles, just to showcase attacked enemies coming up behind it. We wanted to give the character, we wanted to give the character the ability to sneak up or run up on enemies. This enemy right here has no idea I'm right behind him until I get right up on top of him. So it's a quick jump. Combat would be a mixture of melee and ranged. This showcases the ranged aspect to it. We'll be able to have the ability to augment our weapons, have the ability to switch between melee and ranged by use of dual wield, and be able to cast abilities that we have learned. Of course, we'll take
Double back, actually, because I missed a couple of things. Sorry. Back to the map. All the way back to the map. It's gone. You're gone. One more. I do apologize, but these ports, if you control them, I forgot to address this, if you control them, you have the capability of teleporting between them. So if you're all the way up in the front and this point is getting attacked, you don't have to run the field to go all the way back there. You can teleport back to it as long as you control it. Right? Another aspect we wanted to address was there is a mini-map on your screen. Not a lot of people pay attention to that mini-map. So what we wanted to do was, if a point is under attack, your screen is going to flash in front of you to let you know that there is a point that you control that is under attack. Then you can address the mini-map and see which point of the map that you control is being attacked at that point. When you have control of a section in the 3D map, we were going to put in towers that will show you which areas you control. So if you control the entire area, when you're looking in on those towers are going to be lit up green on your side, facing into that area that you own. If you don't own that area and you see a tower, it's got gray or red to let you know that it's not in your control. So, questions? Gareth.
So, what kind of UI are you thinking for this? Are you thinking more the RPG, we got lots of little buttons to click on, or are you thinking more hack and slash? It's like, here's your stats, here's your UI in the start menu, just go for it. Go kill things.
A little bit of mixture of both. We'll have a mini map combined with magic and health, and a couple of abilities that you can have select to change out things. Can I speak up just a little bit? Oh, I'm sorry. The UI would consist of a mini map and with health and magic bar. As far as you also have a notification or a UI for the abilities that you can use at a given time that you can use swap out in and out as you need to.
Yeah.
So this game looks cool and all, but I'm wondering, like, from a strategy perspective, what's to stop somebody from just going right up to the second one here to just cut the map in half? That way, all you have to do is protect that.
You can teleport, so can they. If they own the area, they can call in drop ships that's going to continue to hammer away at your home.
Okay. Because you've only controlled this area and not all of those areas.
These are still under enemy territory. They still own it. There's still enemies in that area. If you just roam the map free, there are patrols that will come in and encounter you. Once you get up to that red area, all red, there's no more roaming patrols. That's all enemy territory. Another question that was asked to us while we were working on the game was, what's to prevent someone to go all the way up? Well, once you come to here, there's, you can't. You will die if you move forward past there. You're too weak, number one. Number two, they have polluted their environment so much so that when they opened up that portal, all that pollution is spilling out into your territory. You can't breathe it.
So you have to level up.
You have to level up, and you have to equip yourself, get your armor up to that second stage minimum to be able to go any further. Anyone else?
You mentioned that when you learn an ability, you couldn't lose it.
You can't lose it because these points have different ability markers. So you get those markers that you now know that much magic. You have the ability to know that much magic.
Okay, so it's
but
not like the spell or whatever, because you're talking about switching points around.
Click to the next one, please. Okay, so once you pick one of these guys, you get one of these points. Okay, at starting, we want to introduce you. You get one each. You have all of these to begin with, just at a dead base. So these are just going to increase it just that little bit more as you go. Once you learn it, though, if you, say, take a point and it gets captured back by the enemy, you got a point from it. You don't lose that point because the enemy recaptured it. Also, in retrospect, if you take that area back, you don't gain an additional point for taking it back. It's like a glyph. You've read a scroll, you now know how to do that, you're going to continually know how to do that. The energy source that it's provided to you, you know how to move it around and shift it around. The unique experience that we want to give our players is to be able to play out all those different points. We're going to push people and kind of direct them to do that all the way up to that middle ground. And then past that middle ground, it's up to you. Play it how you want to play it.
Is this one level or is this map your entire game?
It's pretty much the entire game.
Do you have checkpoints?
Yes, the checkpoints are the towers that you have to control in order to move forward.
If you die, do you go back to those checkpoints?
If you die, you do have to control those checkpoints until the enemy is taken. Yeah.
If this map here was to be your entire game, I assume that it's a very large map. There are people like me who tend to get lost really, really badly in games like these, especially if I put it down for a little bit. What are your plans for trying to get people to come back to the game mid-game and knowing where to go? Is there a clear arrow of progress?
If you, the game will, are you asking if you exit out at a certain point, does the game progress, or you just come back to the time you can?
No, how do I not get lost in the forest?
How you not get lost in the forest?
Is there a
Right.
full-size map?
The minimap and the full size. You'll have a minimap for small area location.
That's probably the last question we have time for.
Minimap for area location around you on the fly, and then the main map for you to see your overall location in reference to.
Thank you.
All right, thank you guys. Next up is Next up is Will's team. Brandon, Brendan, Derek, Will, for Where the Money's At.
Right on.
Alright, so our game
Are you going? Oh, okay. All right. Go ahead.
Alright, so our game is called Where the Money Is, and this is our group. First, we're going to just show off the prototype first, because it's a little job. Big one. Cut off. Alright, so our game is a bank robbing shooter. So pretty much you're going to start in front of the bank and you start with a gun, but first thing you'll notice that it says casing stage at the start. This stage is you're not going to be able to shoot anything, you're just going to be able to walk around and kind of explore the bank. So
That'll probably be it. You probably won't walk in the case of the bank.
yeah, it's just
What, you can't walk into the bank with the gun?
we're going to have it so the player will have it holstered and you can take it out. But yeah. Right now there's some civilians. They kind of look at you. What are you doing? Alright, so the next page is once you've scouted the bank, you can continue on. Right now we don't really have much, but we're going to show a map where the players will be able to draw their plans. So when they actually want to start the heist, they can follow the map. And then next stage, you can start shooting stuff. Yay! So you got a civilian, you shoot them. We also have cops. So hey, look, there's a cop over there now. Get too close. Start shooting at us. Our health's going down at the bottom left. We're dead. So we restart the level. So how about we go steal some money? That's the whole purpose of the game. Bank. Back to the vault. See our lovely giant vault door, which we could just kind of phase through. Pick up our gold. Now you can see that we are carrying the gold. And we can drop this at any time we want to. So say if we just kind of want to leave it somewhere and start shooting people and kind of go back to and get it later, we can. Back up.
The idea being you're not going to be able to navigate very well carrying a huge bag of gold.
The cops is fun. So we can take it over to the drop-off point over here. And so that's just kind of our basic prototype for now, and now we'll start on the slides.
So it's pretty much just your standard first-person shooter game with heist elements where you'll be either planning out and trying to stealth your way through the bank to sneak around the guards and find the most invisible path through the bank, or you can just go loud and try to take everything by force. And
So like I said, it's a first-person shooter. We're just making it really standard control. So if you play Call of Duty, Halo, it's going to feel like the same like anything else. But our unique thing about our game is our scouting phases, which I kind of just showed in the demo. So scouting phases, you could go in and look at the bank and see what's there. We also want to have it in the future so you'd be able to stash items, so like dynamite or drills, which will help you out in the execution phase. Planning phase is where the map will be. It will update with where you've dropped off your loot or dropped off your items. You'll be able to draw on that. And hopefully we're going to have a multiplayer game, so you'll be able to draw it with your friends so you can all plan it. And the execution phase is when you can just go for the goal. And you'll be able to bring up the map from the planning phase so all your friends can see at the same time and see where everyone's at. And then
with the scouting phase at the same time, you can't really walk into the back of the bank and just kind of hide the vault without raising a little bit of suspicion. So if you're going back into some area that you probably shouldn't be in, you're probably going to attract the attention of a guard or two. Stay in sight too long, they're going to come over and question you and escort you out of the bank. Game over. As you do more things, you shoot somebody, a civilian, you're going to kind of attract some attention to yourself. You're going to bring in more police officers. If you blow up a wall, you're going to bring in a lot of police officers. As you do more bad things or call more attention to yourself, you're just going to get more and more on you until the bank is surrounded and you've got to kind of work your own way out of there. Something that you should plan for in the planning phase. Yeah.
All right, and when it comes to our AI, we have two different types. There's the commander, which is the one that's controlling all of the individual costs to a certain extent, spawning them in certain places and at least guiding them along the path to set up the plans for trapping the players and eliminating them with as little damage to property or civilians as possible.
So from there, then the law enforcement themselves will have their own individual AI. So they'll try to follow the commander's AI as much as they can, but if basically the player's responses, or if they hear things, whatnot, or even their own individual things, they will break from those orders and go off on their own and do stuff. So they might search the building for you, or they might chase after you.
And like I said, the main objective of the game is just to get the loot and get out. And the loot could be anything. It could be a bank. It could be a hospital. You need to steal some secret signs. They can something. But yeah, so it could be really anything you want. You want to steal.
So players are going to be able to do their own thing as they go through. You can route what you're trying to get pretty much any way you want. You can sneak through, as we said earlier. You can go in, just kick the front door in and start shooting stuff. Try and brute force your way through. The game kind of tries to focus on making you make pretty quick decisions. You're kicking the door in, and all of a sudden there's two guys there, so you go down this way over here, and hopefully not run into somebody when you shoot through them. It's supposed to put you in different situations every time you play. It's supposed to be different. You can choose to go down this hallway this time or through this the other time. See which works better for you. Hopefully keep things fresh and different. Keep things replayable.
So our target audience is pretty much just FPS people in general, people who play first-person shooters. But we also want to focus on getting the people who like the more tactical-based shooters. We want to plan things out and really, get into it and actually try to strategize and everything. So I target those audiences.
We're just kind of into the hardcore aspect. It's not going to be a game where like Call of Duty where you can just take a million shots and you just hide behind a corner and you're back to full health. Like if you get shot, you're going to go down, but also the cops go down quickly too. So you kind of really have to plan that if you get shot, you're most likely going to die.
Nobody's bulletproof.
Yeah. And marketing and selling. So for our marketing, we're going to of course have a website for the game. That's just standard. And then copies will be distributed to YouTube personalities. It's a lot of people like watching YouTube personalities, so give it to your favorite one. Watch them play with their friends. It's really good. And for social media, Facebook, Twitter, Reddit, all that stuff. And then Steam Greenlight, we'd like to put it on there and generate attention that way, because that seems to get games really nice attention. And also for selling, we're going to hit all the stores. We want DRM-free copies and Steam. And any questions?
Any questions for these guys?
Yep. Hello?
Visually speaking, the graphics, are you guys looking at?
Hello?
GTA could guess, but I kind of call it like Quake meets Hotline Miami. So I kind of want a low poly kind of 90s looking 3D, but not like looking like it look a little better, but also with kind of an 80s VHS vibe. So lots of bright colors, lots of
kind of like Blood Dragon, but with a lot less red.
Yeah. So I mean, I kind of like this. I kind of wanted like a 80s action movie, Point Break, or any of those old heist movies.
This is the only level you're playing for the game.
No, there could be tons of levels.
Like approximately how many levels would you plan?
It could be, since the levels could all be pretty much self-contained, we can go to 10 or 12 because they don't have to be super big. But you really want that the AI and how the people spawn in can be different each time you play it. So the level is really not a huge issue.
What are some of the differences between an easy bank that you can take versus a very difficult?
But that definitely would go into the level size. So this is just like a kind of a one-story bank. It's going to be, you can get in and get out really quickly, or we could have a big giant tower. You need to go multiple levels.
In addition, you could need to find a key to open the bank, or you could need to find the person that has the combination to get into it, or the person with the card key to unlock the door that you need through.
Yeah, so depending on the level size and how we want to slightly randomize each time you play us, the whole thing.
So you mentioned drawing on your map to allow players to collaborate together to create their little scheme.
Mm-hmm.
What are your plans for implementing that? Is it going to be that they can draw on the screen? If so, what platform are you going to use for that?
It's simply, it's really easy in Unity. You can just draw that as a GUI option. And that could literally, people can trace it, we can network that out too, so everyone can see what's drawing. Yeah, you can just draw with your mouse, and then even if you're playing with like an Xbox controller, like it's still easy to put for that. Or you would just save it to an image that they can bring up during the execution phase.
You talked about how easy it is for a cop to shoot you and you to go down. How will the player know that there's a cop around the corner?
We would definitely, it's like we didn't mention audio design here, but that would be like you could hear the cops with the footsteps. We'd also, we kind of want dialogue, so you get the civilians talking to each other, and you hear the police, giving orders and stuff. If we could, commander could say, "Oh, go here," and they could say something that's significant that there's a cop there.
At the same time, if you're robbing an actual bank, you're not going to know that there's a cop around the corner until you poke your head around the corner. The cop's going to have just as much time to shoot you.
Okay. So you're going to be able to look around the corner and
yeah, we're definitely, since we're going for a more kind of classic Rainbow Six, we're going to be leaning and crouching and stuff like that.
Alright, so do I get to plan what tools I bring for this heist, or am I told these are my tools I gotta make?
You can bring, we're going to plan this so you can carry 2 weapons. You can pick up primary and sidearm, and then you're going to have a kind of array of stuff. So say if you want to kind of go for more silent, you can bring a taser instead of a gun, or you don't want to blow up the whole building, you can just bring something that can hack into the thing. So we have many different tools that we can call from.
That was like this question.
Do you have a question?
Go ahead.
Yeah. I don't think the sound's working.
Well, the audio might not work.
One sec, I think Justin plugged it in wrong.
Yeah. It's not working all of a sudden.
Oh, we plugged in the wrong one. Hang on here, Sid.
All right.
That question we didn't hear.
Sid, can you hear us?
Yeah, I hear you fine.
Okay, cool.
My question was, what do you see as your biggest competition? What do you see when you most like it?
Our biggest competition is definitely, there's another big heist game on the market. It was just called Payday. But our game is kind of a reaction to that game because Payday relies on a big, the AI is just kind of, spawn a ton of cops in and just charge the player. It's really kind of high action octane, but we kind of a more realistic approach with, not 1,000 cops. We want kind of 10, but they're going to be strong, and they're all going to think individually. You're going to have to deal with that a different way. So you're not just going to be, sitting in the corner killing waves of zombies. Technically, you're going to have to actually deal with actual
something intelligent.
Yeah.
And is what we've seen the final art style?
No, this is definitely not the final art style.
We're just programmers.
Yeah, so I mean, definitely if this game moves on, I would definitely go straight to the artist, and we would nail down that art style, which is the 80s kind of whole school vibe.
Okay.
Okay.
Any other questions?
One question.
Anybody?
If you're listening, sorry, Shannon. If you're listening for audio to be closed as to what's around the corner and stuff, how will that compete with any soundtrack that's going on?
Like I said, soundtrack, I mean, kind of a low ambient. You really wouldn't want too much of the soundtrack to take over, but you kind of want the player's dialogue to go over the soundtrack. But the soundtrack can be very ambient.
And if this does go through, I'm working with an audio producer right now, or somebody that works on video game audio, and he will help us out with that too.
All right. Well, thank you very much. All right. So last group is Terry, Louie, Ian, Kyle, Sam, and Michelle, defecting from the art group programmer.
Hey, you know what?
So good, we already have the art. Let's get USB ports.
All right. Okay. All right.
Yeah. If they get screwed. Yes.
She has dual citizenship.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been a while.
Please copy it off the flash drive. The project is way too big to just run it off of there.
Where is it?
You know, we don't do ties in game development.
Hey, you have a PowerPoint, right there? Why don't you get the PowerPoint running while we're getting the hardware rigged? We're not wasting time.
Yeah, they're pretty strong. They get DC.
3 suits. Thank you.
I didn't see Terry. I didn't see Terry.
Okay. I know it's all black, but it's there.
It was a lie. It was a lie. Yeah.
Probably because Terry did some
Apologies, Michelle.
Oh, no problem.
This is the live screen.
That's live screen? Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's not fair.
All right.
Are you ready, Terry?
Yep. Okay. So in the near future, a strange little alien girl has decided to invade Earth and rewrite the history of Earth to her liking, bringing back all the evildoers of the world. Hitler, destroying Winston Churchill in the process, and bringing back Gilgamesh and whatnot. And it's up to you, Robot Boy, to undo all of her changes. In the game we call Endpoint. Endpoint! Okay, so in Endpoint, what we're looking to achieve is to get a really quick, fast-paced action FPS in the vein of stuff like Quake. And we're also looking to get free-form movement throughout the game, like parkour and wall running and vaulting over things. So you should be able to explore the different kinds of architecture and cities that
we've had in the past, like, for example, Beijing and Manhattan and all of those really iconic cities. And finally, we're hoping to get each level to be roughly a minute or two long, so that the player can easily go through them and die without much of a cost.
So, to talk about our target audience a little bit, we wanted to target, well, yes, FPS players, because it's going to be a fast-paced RTS. It's going to be games like, it's going to be levels like Fear 3's game mode FE Run, where a little fog is chasing after you and you're running away from it. And then, of course, Quake is another one. And then our other people is going to be speedrunners, games like Super Meat Boy and Lovely Planet, where you're trying to go through the level as fast as possible, trying to get done in your record-beating time.
We're also looking to hit the anime audience with our lovely and adorable Unity chan, which you'll see later in our prototype.
Okay, so art style. The art design of an endpoint is inspired by the streets and landmarks of Beijing, interpreted as sort of like a playground for Robot Boy and Unity Chan to run through. Keeping that in mind, the buildings and various pieces will be designed to be simple geometric shapes and modular pieces. Variety will be created with different textures and normal maps for each piece. The other elements of the level will be more iconic and stylized expedite modeling. That way, more refinement of the textures can be done by the artist while the programming team can work on a mostly completed level, which also leaves open opportunities to add elements as needed. To keep the level interesting, a few buildings and objects will have more detail than others. Because this is Beijing, Tower of Heaven, Forbidden City, the Great Wall of China. Keeping the idea of modular pieces and texture swapping in mind, expanding endpoints into other levels would be easier. Details would be saved for global landmarks. The idea is to get the models into game as soon as possible and refine and polish those pieces as time allows. I guess we could look at GUI. So the basic GUI that we decided was health, stamina for wall running, bullets, and timer, and then target. And then this is sort of, because the wall is behind you, so you need an indicator of that coming on you. So kind of like a fog effect, and I believe we talked about sound effect.
Right. As well as the screen going kind of grayscale and draining of color.
Yes.
Basically draining of life.
Yes. Okay.
We actually have two demos to show you guys today. So the first one we'll talk a little bit about level design. As we're waiting for this to come up real quick. To go along with what she was saying, we want these levels to be. It's supposed to be nighttime, and Unity's nighttime is a little dark.
That's pretty dark.
Yeah. So you have different parts of the level, and
You died.
oh, he died by the wall. I wasn't fast enough. Yeah. So as you go through the level, you'll see different things like cars and whatnot. You'll see Unity chans. And you'll have to like climb up on buildings to get to that special area that you want to like view over the rest of the level. This is just a short level compared to the rest. Everything.
The wall did not.
Obviously, we're still in development. The wall just passed them. But for instance, like the sign here, you can jump on top of, and then you can jump on this freeway that's going overhead. Unfortunately, our player does not know how. If the player just wants to continue on the level.
as you hold your hand awkwardly in midair.
Go up.
We just go.
Move on. Just move on. Thank you. We want to make sure that the level feels fluent, that you can leap from object to object to get to those paths, and those with creative paths will be able to see more unique scenes and features.
Fluidity, obviously, still in development.
Yeah. We're still in development, obviously, and yeah, I think with that, we'll pass it off to the other.
So the next demo is the tech demo where we're going to showcase the character controller, I guess the artificial intelligence that's currently present in the game, and just the general feel for it. I'm actually going to ask one of you to maybe come up and play if we have time. But before we move on to that demo, did anyone have any questions about the, I guess, artistic feel of the game?
You're going to plug and play.
Sam, controls. Controls? Oh god, okay. Joystick to move, Justin.
Okay.
Right joystick to aim. Your right trigger obviously shoots. If you run out of bullets, you can press X to reload. And don't touch the wall. You should die. It might go through you. I'm not sure, actually.
Yeah, right. He's running out of health.
If you press start, the level will restart. You can put that in there as a little cheat to make this a little bit easier. Okay, so yeah, the idea behind the game is that it's a pretty typical first-person shooter. We opted out of the aim-down sights feature, which is present in a lot of more modern FPSs like Call of Duty. So we wanted to allow for more rapid Quake/Counter-Strike style movement without the realism interfering with that. You can also double jump if you don't want to have to deal with the wall running.
I do have one question.
Sure.
You mentioned something called a Unichan. Is that what those girls are?
Yes. UnityChan is actually courtesy of Ryan. I mean, I got the initial asset, but he helped me rig up the animator controller and the shooting animation for her, and she's the appeal to the anime people. I'm not sure if she's going to still be present in the final version, but we wanted to have some kind of anime-related enemy to showcase in our demo. How's it feel, Justin?
Not too bad.
Yeah.
Except for I'm out of bullets.
Yeah.
And I'm dead.
Right now, I think we're thinking about different levels like Paris. I think we have one for Beijing, obviously. I think we have one for the U.S., though I'm not sure where. But, yeah, so different characters throughout history, and yeah, that's about it.
Suppose any questions about the tech demo and what you do in the game?
Are we have questions?
Yeah, we can move on to questions. Unless you guys have anything left in the PowerPoint to talk about. Okay. 1, 2, 3. 4.
So you're marketing this game.
Terry, I believe, had the marketing segment.
Yeah, so we're going to try for a two-phase approach. Well, I guess three if you count pre-production. So we're hoping to just do the usual indie stuff where we do game development, live streams, and also blogs, as well as maintaining our own website. And then once we actually hit a sellable phase, we'll sell it on our own website, as well as Humble Bundle and itch.io, which is a small indie marketplace. And then if we build up a decent fan base, then we'll move on to greener pastures in Steam, Greenlight, and GOG, as well as possibly Origin.
Are you going to involve some sort of humor since you're bringing in these horrible people from the past? Are you going to have any sarcasm involved or any kind of humor involved?
I think what we're considering doing is having intermissions between each stage where you might interact with Unity-chan, because here's the secret. She's actually in love with you, and she's actually trying to get your attention by messing with you throughout history.
Yeah. How historically correct is it? If you go back to an era where there's no guns, you still get to keep your gun.
You are a robot. Your gun is your stomach cannon.
So you
It
are
fires
a
out.
robot in an era where there are no robots.
Yeah.
Okay.
And at the end of each level is a time gate. Right? A time gate that ports you to a different level.
Since every level is supposed to be like a minute or two, how long do you think like the whole game would take to play? Because you would need a ton of levels to fill up even an hour.
Right. If you only played each level once, then you're probably not the kind of gamer that we're mostly heading towards. I mean, we're not only hoping for first-person shooters, but also people who really like to nail down their time and really retry enough times so they can really get that time they're looking for. But we are also looking to, as Michelle said, reuse a lot of assets for the same geographical area. So, for example, China wouldn't only have Beijing, but it would also have other significant places within that area.
Along with being able to explore the map a little more, look for that secret paths that I was talking about earlier.
Yeah.
The wall moving after you, is it a constant threat from level to level? Are there levels where the wall is easier and levels where the wall is faster and more difficult? Or is it a consistent? Or is it a consistent speed? Yeah.
So the wall have pretty consistent behavior. The differentiation of how hard or easy to avoid it would be more the level design and what the enemies are doing.
We'd also toyed with the idea for the enemies penalizing the player for not killing the enemies. If the wall were to say eat one of the enemies, perhaps it would speed it up or affect your score or the difficulty of the level. It's not something that's totally fleshed out yet, but it's definitely something we were thinking about.
Any more questions?
So you've got this girl who's trying to bring people from the past who are less than desirable figures. What's the purpose of the wall then? Are these big guys or gals who did really horrible things, are they also enemies? I'm wondering the significance of the wall. What is it?
So the wall is, so in Fear 3 the wall was a giant death fog that sort of enveloped everything. What we're thinking for our game instead is that it'll be a group of Unity Chan's motherships, because remember, she is an alien. She's definitely eccentric. So it's a wall of her motherships that sort of have tractor beams that are sucking up everything below. And including you, because she definitely wants you. One more question. You already from Sid? I can't plug in.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, hello. Anybody else?
Quick question: who's your main target? Who's your main target? Time cycle you were talking about. And the reduced time. Hitting you can for. What's the best comparison to another?
Best compare most similar game?
Yes.
Yes. It would be probably Lovely Planet, which is where the short level idea comes from, because in Lovely Planet, you start off and you left click and you're already in the game, and you die and instantly you restart. And each level in Lovely Planet roughly lasts about 1 minute.
So what do you see as the final art style? So what do you see as the final art style? I've seen stuff everywhere from
Yes. So the art style is supposed to be more stylized and geometric. We're going to be testing cell shaders and see how that works to keep it more simple so that we could swap textures more easily.
Okay.
Okay. All right. That's it. Thank you very much.
So that was the last of our game pitches. Thank you everybody for coming out and checking it out. Please feel free to walk around and talk with any of our teams and try any of the interactive demos and whatnot that we have. Okay. And it was good seeing you again, Sid.
Yeah, nice
really
seeing you.
appreciate it.
Yeah, nice seeing you. It was fun.
All right.
It was fun.
All right. Awesome. Awesome.
Refreshments and dresses.
Yeah. What?